I really do not know that black people are afraid of. Why do I say black people? White people. White. Correct yourself. I really did not know that people that did not look like me are actually afraid of people that look like me. Until I saw this particular video, and this palm colored woman explained a whole lot. And I want to share with you guys, right? So that when you're done watching, let me know in the comment section everything they said in this clip. Is it true? Or am I the one that is getting something wrong? I just literally just want to know. This is just for educational purpose only. Please, not to bash anyone. I did research and I saw this and I said, let me bring it down to your table. Credit belongs to original creators of every clips and stitches we're going to be using at this episode. Educational purposes. We do not support violence in this page at all. Just drop your opinion for me in the comment section. They are scared. And let's get right into it. I'll be back with commentary.
People in the United States of America within the next 25 years are going to have to realize that not only are they not white, but they are also no longer in the numerical majority in this country. And that is what has white males scared to death, because they're afraid that if they lose their power, they will be treated by other people the way we have treated those other people. That's what's going on.
This is why white people are afraid of black
I was
people.
brought up in, quote, Bedford-Stuyvesant in my town. But I would like to say what scares us is I think we hear violence.
The young lady said she's afraid of violence. And isn't it sad that we who have been the victims of so much violence, now whites fear violence from us? We do not have a history of killing white people. White people have a history of killing us. See? And what you fear, may I say this, sir? What you fear, and it's a deep guilt thing, that white folks suffer. You are afraid that if we ever come to power, we will do to you and your fathers what you and your people have done to us. And I think you are judging us by the state of your own mind, and that is not necessarily the mind of black people.
This is
The reason why you become silent, there's one that always comes up, and that's fear. White people are afraid of black people. They are afraid of us. And it's a very interesting thing because black people know it. We know white people are afraid. But you have to start getting into the psychology. What are you afraid of? Why are you afraid? But it's an interesting dynamic. Now, also you see the difference in what racism is, do you not? Racism implies you have not just prejudice, but the power to do something with that prejudice. Now, I don't like you, not only that, but I'm going to control whether you can get, I may say I hate you. I hate white people. I hate them. It's not going to change you getting that, loan when you go to the bank. I can hate you all the way to the bank. Not going to change. Do you see the difference? That whereas white racism says, not only do I not like you, but I'm going to change the impact of where you can live. I'm going to determine with that racism where your powers are. You following me? And I'm talking about as a group, not an individual.
It's crazy how white people in America are constantly scared of shit that they did to somebody else. The reason they hate immigrants and they're terrified of being replaced by immigrants, they're scared that their blood is going to be poisoned. They fear that they're going to have their resources taken from them. They're going to have their land stolen from them. And they're ultimately going to be replaced by immigrants because it triggers their generational guilt, because that's what they did. Literally how they formed this country and acquired this land. And they're scared that that's what's going to happen to them. Every single facet of white supremacy and the conservative platform is literally fear of karma, things that they've done to other people in this country that they're scared is going to happen to them. Which is also ironic because as much as they deserve it, nothing anyone's ever tried to do. But the reason that they're scared is because their generational guilt is triggered, as it should be.
So white folks, why don't we want to know black history? Are we afraid? Are the powers to be afraid that if we really learned to appreciate the history of black culture in this country, we would see an example of love, an example of excellence, and an example of humanity that we could actually learn from, that we would benefit from, because we don't have enough of that in our culture. Is that what we're afraid of? Are we afraid of losing our positioning in a culture that's more so about winning and positioning than about life and enjoying life? And that's the concern with missing out on Black History Month. Race for What, thanks to the idea of Mecca Taylor, is interested in also seeing February as Black Future February. But we have to understand that history. We have to understand why we should appreciate these people that have done nothing to harm us, no matter how much harm we have done to them, and how we can learn from them how to be the best version of ourselves. So while this world is crumbling around us, as white people are scrambling around during this time trying to figure out what should I stand for, how about stand back, learn some Black history, and appreciate and invest in Black future for February. Thank you. Race for What?
We need to say the truth. White people have never been clean. Not now, not ever. The entire history of Europe is a story of people refusing to wash their asses while looking down on everyone else. Let's start with the ancestors you worship so much. Medieval and early modern Europeans. People so filthy they were literally scared of water. They believed that bathing opened the pores and let in disease, so instead of washing, they simply wiped themselves down with dry rags and perfume. Imagine thinking water is bad for you while living in streets filled with feces and piss. Doctors warned against bathing, saying that it was too stimulating and would weaken the body. Instead, they told people to rub themselves with dry powders or just change their linens and call it a day. King Louis XIV of France, the Sun King, bathed twice in his entire life. Let that sink in. The most powerful man in Europe smelled like a rotting corpse dipped in cologne. Queen Isabella of Spain also bragged about only bathing twice in her entire life. These people ruled empires while literally festering in their own filth. You want to call other people savages? Let's talk about their hygiene habits, or lack thereof. They didn't wash their clothes. They just aired them out like letting filth touch fresh air was some kind of magical cleaning method. They slept in lice-infested beds and wore the same sweat-soaked, piss-stained clothing for weeks or months at a time. Queen Elizabeth I bragged about only changing her undergarments once a month. Her whole palace must have smelled like a backed-up sewer. Their mouths? A disaster. Europeans didn't brush their teeth. At all. By the time they were 30, their mouths were full of blackened, rotting stumps. King James I of England's breath was so bad, people would write him letters telling him how unbearable it was to be near him. Meanwhile, at the exact same time, indigenous Americans, Africans, and Asians were bathing daily, cleaning their teeth with herbs, and wearing fresh clothes. But Europeans pulled up smelling like roadkill and still had the audacity to call everyone else dirty. Let's talk about the cities you love to glorify. Paris, London, and Rome. These places were open cesspools. People threw their shit and piss into the streets because they didn't have proper sewage systems. London's Thames River was literally so full of human waste that it became toxic. In 1858, the Parliament had to shut down because of the stench, called the Great Stink, was so unbearable. Paris? Just as bad. The streets were covered with garbage, excrement, and dead animals. It was so bad that the air itself was dangerous to breathe. Meanwhile, at the exact same time, the Aztecs had running water, street cleaners, and aqueducts bringing fresh water into the city. So tell me again, who are the real savages? But let's not pretend this filth is just in the past. White people are still dirty today. You have to be convinced to wash your legs in the shower. Doctors are telling you to wash your damn feet because so many of you think that you can just let the water trickle down and that's enough. The 2020s exposed how many white celebrities don't bathe daily. Ashton Kutcher, Kristen Bell, Jake Gyllenhaal, all proudly claiming they don't shower unless they see dirt. White parents are still proudly saying that they only bathe their kids when they start to smell. Imagine raising the next generation of walking biohazards. You normalized wearing outside clothes to bed, spreading whatever germs you caught from the outside world directly onto your sheets. You go to bed without washing your hands, your face, or brushing your teeth, and wonder why your skin looks like a medieval battlefield. Meanwhile, Black, Latino, Asian, and indigenous cultures have always prioritized hygiene. Africans were using shea butters, scented oils, and natural soaps before Europeans even knew what soap was. Indigenous Americans bathed in rivers daily using herbal cleansers. South Asian and Middle Eastern cultures developed some of the earliest bathhouses, perfumes, and skincare regimens. Latinos are known for showering twice a day and keeping their homes spotless. And yet, white people still have the nerve to act like they invented civilization. The reality? You have never been clean. Your ancestors weren't clean. Your great-grandparents weren't clean. Your hygiene habits, questionable at best. Cope.
Question. What does it feel like to be white?
Feels like I'm constantly being judged by the color of my skin. Being told that I have it easy because I'm white. We don't get our own channel. We don't get our own history month. If I say I'm proud to be white, that's a fucking issue. We're constantly blamed for something that we had no fucking part of. Hundreds of years ago. Like, white people don't get shit. We get shit on, but we don't get shit. Yet we're constantly told just how fucking privileged we are. So let's just fucking, stop all these games. You were never a slave, and I was never a slave owner. We go out every day and we bust our fucking asses because nothing is handed to us. And there will be nothing handed to us. My understanding of it was if you ever judge somebody by the color of their skin, that's racist. So why is it okay for me to be judged by mine? And be constantly told that I have it fucking easy. We're out here on the grind, making fucking ends meet. Because again, we get nothing special. So you get your own channel, you get your own history month, you get your own special programs to get you into college, you get your own little special programs to be hired first at a company. We don't get that. So now I need to get back in here and get to work, because ain't no fucking program gonna pay my rent.
Can we talk about how miserable white people are for a second? Like, you know that white people are miserable, right? Like, have you ever looked a white person in the eye, even if they're like a big mental health person? You just look deep down and you're like, brother, you are not happy at all. And truly, it breaks my heart. But one reason, I think, one of the main reasons that a lot of white people, a lot of us are really unhappy and miserable is because we lack internal congruence. Now, congruence is a concept we learned early in grad school to help people heal. And congruence is basically internal alignment. Values and actions are on the same page, right? Like, we accept every part of ourselves. We feel peace, security in who we are, congruence. And no matter how hard you try, you can never find internal congruence if you're not congruent with the world around you. If you're not understanding what's real and seeing reality and affirming what's true. So like white people who deny patriarchy and capitalism's negative effect and oppression of the world and genocide that's happening around the world, like that's incongruent with reality. That is going to have an effect on us internally. Because to deny what's happening in real time, we have to deny certain parts of us, certain emotions, certain thoughts that come up. And the more we run for that, the more incongruent and separate we feel, the more dissonance that comes, the more miserable we are. And a lot of times we're not actually dealing with our own pain and our own reality because we're all suffering under capitalism and white supremacy. Like, it affects us different ways in intersectionality, but like it affects us white people too. You don't think a stormtrooper in the fucking Star Wars movies hates his life? You don't think he hates being bossed around all the time? You don't think poor white people living in the empire, like in the city walls, like in a Game of Thrones, like you don't think that they're miserable under it, even though they're not miserable the most? To be congruent inside, to not be miserable anymore, it takes accepting the realities of the world, seeing how those toxic systems affect us, and then moving to actually be congruent. Because deep down, humanity has goodness at its center. So yeah, white people, we're miserable because we're not congruent, because we're denying the realities of the world, and thus denying ourselves.
I'm out here trying to do this while the dogs are playing. We'll see how that works. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, I'm doing a series of videos on internalized whiteness values, and right now we're talking about conformity, which is how one ascends the whiteness hierarchy. I'm doing this specifically with an emphasis on the United States, and specifically with an emphasis on people raised in the white women box, the social justice white women. So, let's talk about the self-mutilative nature of conformity. So, when you are part of a colonialist hierarchy that cuts off empathy, you end up also, like that line, remember that line I talked about where it's like everybody you and above deserves empathy, sympathy, compassion? That line doesn't run, that line runs straight through. And in that system, under that system, there are parts of you that do not fit, right? And under that system, there are parts of you that you think do not deserve empathy, compassion, and understanding, and humanity. And so in order to conform, in order to gain the things that you want to get, security, happiness, whatever, you cut those parts off. You mutilate your own soul. And then sometimes your body, but that's a different video. So the thing that I really want to focus on in this video is that level of self-mutilation in pursuit of conformity creates a very strong incentive to preserve the status quo and to make sure everyone's playing by the same rules. And to some of you, that's not going to make sense. You're like, well, if the status quo is hurting everybody, why don't we change the status quo? If it's hurting you, why would you be opposed? So let me see if I can illustrate this by mutilating a fairy tale. So imagine you're one of Cinderella's stepsisters, okay? In a not Disney version of this tale. And let's assume you're reasonably conventionally attractive. You're just, comparatively speaking, and also behaviorally, you're an ugly stepsister. And you're doing all the things you're supposed to do, because you're supposed to make an advantaged marriage. So, you have deportment and, do this, do that, dress this way, act this way, be a lady, whatever. Don't be there just for the food. And you go to the ball, you hear the news. His Royal Highness Christopher Rupert is giving a ball. And rumor has it he will choose a wife with the ball. Okay, this is a game you've been trained to play. So, you get all dolled up, you get, dressed up as well as you can, you go to the ball, you're charming, you wear the shoes that hurt, but whatever, mask your face, you try to charm the prince as best you can, you play the game. Unfortunately, some stranger shows up and steals the spotlight. Irritating, but whatever. That's how it goes sometimes. Then a couple days later, so you go home, a couple days later, you find out that there's a new set of rules in play. Now the prince says, whoever fits the shoe, I will marry the woman who can wear the shoe. Okay, let's give this a shot. So he shows up at your house, and you try on the shoe, and your foot's too wide. And your mom says, you should just cut off your toes. Because the princess doesn't need toes. Princess doesn't need to be balanced. Where you'll be running? You won't be running anywhere. You'll be a princess. Whatever. And you're like, okay. So you cut off your toes. One assumes wrap your foot. Jam your foot into the slipper. The prince is like, oh, okay. Puts you on his horse. He starts to ride away. And then he's like, oh, okay, that's a lot of blood. So he takes you back and he tries to put the slipper on your sister. Your sister's foot is too long. And your mom is like, well, just cut your heel off. Obviously, you won't need to be walking if you're a princess. You'll have servants that can carry you anywhere. The level of wealth and privilege that you're going to get as a result of this sacrifice, self-mutilation, is going to make all of this irrelevant. It will not matter. So your sister cuts off her heel. And the prince, who admittedly in the story is not one of God's best and brightest, puts her on his horse and starts to ride away. And then he's like, that's also a lot of blood. That's so weird. So he comes back. Now, in the normal fairy tale, that's when Cinderella tries it on. If it's perfectly happy ever after, right? But imagine it doesn't end that way. Imagine on his way back, bringing back your sister, the prince meets another girl. She's never been in the story before. She wasn't at the ball. She has no context. Maybe she's a farmer's daughter. Maybe she's another noble girl come to visit. Maybe she's the doctor's assistant because you're trying to bandage your feet and someone called a physician. Does not matter. Between bringing your sister back and trying it on Cinderella, the prince meets another girl and he falls in love immediately. Instant sparks. Says, this is the girl for me, I'm not going to have any. He doesn't even try on the shoe. He just picks her up, puts her on his horse, rides away. Now, obviously that ending's not great for Cinderella, although we don't know. She just wanted to go to the party. Maybe she's fine with it. Maybe she's going to do a brandy and, like, go off to find the life and love she deserved, you know? Maybe she wasn't super interested in being queen. Maybe she liked the prince, but it was like she only knew him for a night. So we don't know how Cinderella feels about it. We do know how the stepsisters feel about it, though, right? Because imagine you've just cut off a piece of your foot to try and become queen, and someone else gets to be queen who wasn't even, like, who doesn't even have to try on the shoe. Imagine how that feels, right? And so now you have the stepsisters who are rapidly invested in making sure everyone plays by the same rules. They'd be mad if the shoe fit Cinderella, but at least she'd be playing by the rules, right? She'd be within the scope of the way the fairy tale works. But for an unknown woman to just come out of nowhere, doesn't have to go to the ball, doesn't have to try on the shoe, boom, princess. No, that's not fair. Right? And so that's the kind of emotional... Someone's being brave. Hey, Caspers. You're being brave? That's the kind of emotional investment I'm talking about, right? And I'm going to elaborate on this some more, but the kind of emotional investment I'm talking about is this. I did this. I gave up things that were important to me to play by the rules that I was told. And now someone else has those things that I was trying to get, and they didn't have to do what I had to do. And this goes deeper than... Jules is playing Fire Engine. Casper, you want to play Fire Engine? Okay. Anyway, as you can see, it creates an investment, and we can talk about how that plays out a lot. I want to talk about how that plays out a lot in white mom spaces. But I think I need to go. But yeah, I think one thing we need to keep in mind is that self-mutilation, when we talk about people voting against their own interests, you have to keep in mind that self-mutilation doesn't necessarily create a desire to change the system. It can, and very often does, create a very strong desire to maintain the system so that the things that you have given up and the sacrifices that you have made mean something. Does that make sense? Let's discuss.
You are the only fine girl. You are the only strong people that I see. Hey, guys, they are scared of you to come take over. They're scared of you guys to break out because they know that the moment that it happened is going to be like the moment she called, the moment I fell in love. Guys, that is why I keep saying it, like, let's be serious now. Why not do to others what you want them to do to you? I like the way the second clip I played actually answered that question. He said, you are scared because of your mindset that when we come into power, we are going to do to you what you have done to us. But that is not a mindset of Black people. If there is any peaceful person in this whole world when it comes to race, Black people are one of the most peaceful. No matter how you want to paint it, no matter how you want it, make it look like, oh, it's a lie. They are not peaceful. They are violent. They are this, they are that. Me and you know that Black people are one of the most peaceful people. So instead of putting all of these fears and carrying all of this fear, why not face this fear and challenge this fear? Speak to this fear and learn to treat people of my color equally. Learn to see yourself as one. Learn to see yourself as people of my color are people you can actually relate to, talk to, and understand the difference that is causing all of this white, black stuff, blah, 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 that is making a lot of people to stare into your face and laugh the country. But no, the greedy ones will not. The ones that want to eat their cake and have it back. The ones that want to literally take charge of every single thing. They will not. They will still keep putting the innocent one at risk. But one thing I love about Black people is Black people are not really going to do any evil to white people. That's one thing I know. No matter the history, no matter what has happened, we've moved. Our own is give us what is ours. Give us what belongs to us. Give us what we know that we are the rightful owners. And let us just move with our life. Do you get? Give us what is our own. Instead of thinking, instead of being scared, instead of saying, oh, just cut our cake, give us. We are not asking for too much. Or are Black people asking for too much? You know that these people deserve reparation. Give them reparation. Let the peace reign. Let harmony reign. But anyways, guys, let me know what you think about this video in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed, do it. Subscribe, like this video, drop me your comment, and lastly, do not forget to share. Like I said, this video is just for educational purpose, not to bash anyone. Please feel free to leave me your thoughts in the comment section. And credit belongs to original creators of every clips and stitches used at this episode. And just know that we are all one, right? With no further ado, I'm going to be saying bye, and I'll see you guys in my next one. For now, bye. I love you guys.